to put a winning team on the field year in and year out and to be playing meaningful games in August? Well, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. We have not played meaningful baseball games in the month of August. We just haven't. And 2018, at least they finished with a winning record, but 2019, I mean, this team right now is playing, and as I said, they're on pace to have the worst second half in MLB history. All the history of baseball. This is the 150th season of Major League Baseball, and the Pirates are playing the worst second half of all time. Just let that sink in. Of all time. It's bad. And that, yes, Mr. Everett, is why no one is at PNC Park on a Tuesday night in August. Because why would you go? I mean, I was there, so I can say I was one of the 10,000 in attendance. But when the Pirates are getting beat up the way they are, especially against the Nationals on a Tuesday night, you know, you can throw in the humidity factor, the heat, whatever you want to throw in. All those factors combined with the fact that this team sucks is why nobody is showing up. And the fact that this Little Leaguer is calling us out, you know, it sucks. And here's the thing, right? So being a Pirates fan right now, and I'm gonna be a Pirates fan, you know, until the day I die. Like I'm not going anywhere. But it's miserable. And, you know, nights like last night really, you know, they rejuvenate you. Nights like Tuesday night when you come back and you win a game, they rejuvenate you. But still, when you have that whole national series where you're losing 13-0, 11-1, 7-1, that's what kills you. When you go 9-30 in a 39-game stretch since the second half, that's what kills you. That's what kills attendance. And, you know, he said it best. There's not a lot of people here. And there just wasn't. And I was actually sitting right, they were sitting in section 130, I believe, and I was sitting, like, right beneath them, a couple rows down. And, you know, they made up a large majority of the crowd that was there. And really, this little leaguer saying it, it hurts, right? And again, you go back to, you know, humid, hot games in the past, and people will show up if there's a winning product in the field. We saw that during the playoff years, 2013 and 2015. We saw that. People will show up. You build it, they will come. Field of Dreams. Okay? I'm going to go regardless, but, you know, I'm different, right? And if you're listening to this podcast, we can probably say that we are different. Right? We love this team, and we're going to continue to support this team and continue to show up and watch these games. We are. But at the end of the day, the common folk that are going to really boost that crowd, and even last night, fireworks night, yes, it was a little bit of a chilly evening, but only 20,000 people showed up. Usually they get at least 30 for the fireworks nights. It's a shame. It really is. And I had a great time at the game last night. It was a good time. And, you know, it would have been nice to see a bigger crowd, and it was double the size of what we got during the week. So thank God for that. We'll see how the attendance is the rest of the weekend. If there's only 20,000 last night on a fireworks night, I mean, it's probably going to be in between, you know, 15 to 20 again for the rest of the weekend. And it's only going to get worse from here, folks. I mean, the attendance figures are not going to increase at all in 2019, and we're going to consistently have one of the worst attendances in baseball if a winning product is not put on the field. And that's the thing about Pittsburgh sports fans. They want a winning product. And right now this team is certainly is not the winning product that fans will show up and pay money for. We're just not. After being promoted to AAA earlier in the day, Pittsburgh Pirates relief pitching prospect was impressive in his debut for the Indianapolis Indians on Thursday night. On Thursday, the Pittsburgh Pirates announced a slew of roster moves pertaining to the AAA Indianapolis Indians. One of these moves was promoting hard-throwing reliever Blake Cederland from AA to AAA. A promotion of Cederland is a move that should have already happened. Well, Cederland's promotion has finally come. Prior to being promoted, Cederland owned a 1.77 ERA and a 3.08 FIP in 45 and two-thirds innings, pitched in 31 relief outings for AA Altoona. He allowed just one home run, held opposing batters to a 190 batting average against, struck out 22.7% of batters faced, and walked 8.7%. With the curve, Cedarland was dominating opposing batters and had nothing left to prove at the AA level. After being promoted earlier in the day, Cedarland towed the AAA rubber for the first time later in the night. In his first inning of work, Cedarland threw 17 pitches, and 12 of them clocked in on the radar gun at 98 miles per hour or harder. This included hitting 100 plus miles per hour multiple times. Cedarland pitched a total of 1 2/3 innings for the Indians on Thursday night. He struck out 3 batters and did not issue a walk. After posting a 0 in his first inning of work, he ran into some trouble in his second inning. In the 8th inning, Cedarland allowed a pair of singles and uncorked a wild pitch. This was followed up by allowing a 3-run home run to Jeimer Candelario. Cedarland then hit a batter, allowed a double, and picked up a strikeout. After his 3rd strikeout of the evening, he was lifted from the game. While Cedarland did get tagged for 3 runs on Thursday night, he still flashed his potential. Cedarland showed his power, stuff, and ability to be a future back end of the bullpen arm for the Pirates. He will be an intriguing arm to keep an eye on during the final few weeks of the AAA season. He will. And really, like, the stretch of the season, we're going to be, keeping tabs on a lot of the minor league guys, seeing what the future, what the next contending Pirates team is going to look like. And I am a person of the belief that Blake Cedarland is going to be a back into the bullpen guy when the Pirates have their next competitive team. I don't think we'll be seeing Cedarland until probably September, I'd say, of 2020. Maybe some injuries and underperformance. He might be able to make it to Pittsburgh at some point earlier in the season. But I'd say September 2020, definitely by 2021, we will see Blake Cedarland in Pittsburgh. And we've had a lot of guys come up this season and make their debuts, and they've shown flashes of potential. But for the most part, the guys that we've called up this year have struggled. When the Pirates' first big guy that they called up was Montana Rapa, and he was awesome at first, right? And I thought he was going to join that back end of the bullpen that has been quite good for the Pirates, but he has since then stumbled and, still could be that guy, but has just not been the same. Jeff Hartley, when he first came up, he pitched decent, but then he struggled ever since. Luis Escobar pitched pretty well at first, but then he struggled. And those are the 3 main guys that I want to point out. But this bullpen, and really the configuration of this bullpen, it's going to be exciting for 2020 when you have Felipe Vasquez, Keone Kela, Kyle Crick, Nick Birdie will be coming back. Edgar Santana will be coming back. You still got Richard Rodriguez, Chris Stratton. This bullpen is going to be exciting in 2020. It's going to be a dangerous bullpen. And, I said this coming into the 2019 season, that this bullpen could be one of the best in all of baseball. Obviously, losing Nick Birdie hurt, losing Keone Kela for a large portion of time has hurt. Kyle Crick not being as effective has hurt. Richard Rodriguez struggling a little bit has hurt. So, really, Felipe Vasquez has been the only, steady guy, but Keone Kela is really starting to come back into his own. Kyle Crick hopefully is going to be turning the corner. Richard Rodriguez has been solid. Michael Feliz. Chris Stratton, outside of his performance the other night, these guys have, there's been a lot of guys that have stepped up. And the real unfortunate thing, too, with Nick Birdie back early in the season is he was pitching great. I know his peripherals were not there, but he was striking out so many batters, enough so that I was like, okay, I'm super excited to see him when he gets back in 2020. But also Chad Kuhl will be back coming off of Tommy John surgery. And, we might see Blake Cedarland potentially even in that 2020 bullpen. I'm not sure if he did pitch in spring training this past year. I can check that real quick. But he is a power stuff guy. He throws just as hard as Felipe Vasquez does. And he's exciting. Without a doubt, Blake Cedarland is an exciting pitcher and definitely a guy that we're going to keep tabs on and keep our eye on the final few weeks here of the AAA season as they push for a playoff berth. That power stuff is real and it plays, and I think it's going to play in Pittsburgh, and he's going to make a big impact if he makes his way. So Cedarland did not pitch. He did not make his way into spring training action, but still, from everything I've heard from him, he is going to be an exciting guy. And yes, the 3-run home run to Candelario also has some major league experience with the Tigers and the Cubs. So, I mean, that's understandable. I mean, AA guy getting called up for AAA and giving up that. But the fact that in those 1 2/3 innings he struck out 3 batters, did not issue a walk, and a 0 in his first inning. And Cedarland is going to be a guy that, is going to be that 1 inning back end of the bullpen guy. And if you can imagine already the amount of wealth, of the levy of wealth that the Pirates have in their bullpen, and you imagine adding another guy that can throw high 90s into the hundreds and be another back end guy, you just think the Wolf Package, Felipe Vasquez has dubbed it, it's just going to get all that much scarier when Cedarland makes his way to Pittsburgh. He's not going to make it this year, obviously, but at some point in 2020, we should expect to see Cedarland in Pittsburgh, and I'm very excited for when that debut does come. I don't think we've talked about him much on the show here. I think this might be the first time that we're spotlighting Blake Cedarland. But definitely a name to keep an eye on, and I really do hope you guys enjoyed these segments on these prospects, and just guys to keep an eye on. Like last week, we talked about the Morgantown All-Stars and Jared Trill, Blake Sable, Cameron Junker, and Jose Valdez. And then Jose Valdez, another guy that we got in the David Freese trade. So, keeping a spotlight on these guys. I hope you guys do enjoy these segments that I worked pretty hard to put together. But Cedarland is going to be... He's going to be special. He's going to be something. And, when we get to spring training 2020, he's going to be a guy to keep an eye on. Like, the guy that I really spotlighted for me this past spring training, I wanted to see what Brandon Waddell got, and I wanted to see Blake Wyman after his Arizona Fall League performances. And, they pitched decent, but Cedarland is going to be a guy that we are definitely going to highlight when we get to that spring training point come February. So sitting here August 24th, right now 2019, we still got a ways away, about 6 months until spring training 2020, but in those 6 months, there's going to be that renewed life, that renewed spring. Hope springs eternal, and we're going to be talking about that very soon here. The season is quickly, I wouldn't say coming to an end, but, we are going to be getting to September call-ups. This is going to be the last week where there aren't September call-ups, and that's going to be important for the Pirates. September, and honestly, this last week of August, it's okay, see what we got. But I'm excited to see the September call-ups and see what we've got down there. I really hope that we can try to get Will Craig and Key Brian Hayes up here. Going to have to DFA 2 players to do that, but I think it's going to be important to see what they've got at the major league level. And I've talked a lot about Will Craig. If you follow my Instagram account or you listen to the podcast, I love Will Craig. I think he's going to be a superstar. I don't know where he's going to play in the field, but he can hit and he's going to force his way into the lineup, I believe. So I do want to see Key Brian as well. And then Kevin Kramer will also get a chance to see, hopefully get an extended look at Cole Tucker. Need to get rid of Eric Gonzalez so you can get Cole Tucker those looks. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. Jason Martin as well. We're going to hopefully get a chance to see him play a lot of right field. So there's going to be guys, and reason to keep watching Pirates baseball heading into September, because this last week of August it might be tough to watch given the fact that we don't have those September call-ups here yet. But when they do come up, it'll be exciting to see. Even if we don't see Craig and Hayes, to see Kramer, Tucker, Martin, those type of guys, when they get up here and see what they can do, give them extended looks, should be relatively intriguing to see what they have got. The Pittsburgh Pirates are already getting great results from their 2019 draft class. Their first-round pick has already lived up to the hype. In the 2019 draft, the Pittsburgh Pirates had the 18th overall pick. While they were drafting in the bottom half of the draft, they were still able to find a very high upside pitching prospect. The team used their 18th overall pick to select Illinois prep right-hander Quinn Priester. The Bucs actually made Priester the top prep pitcher to be drafted in the 2019 draft. By doing so, the Pittsburgh Pirates made Priester the third prep pitcher to be drafted in the first round by Neil Huntington in his tenure. And the early returns have been good. Priester has looked every bit of a first-round pick and is having as much, if not more, success than any other prep pitcher taken in the 2019 draft. After signing, The Pittsburgh Pirates placed Priester in the Gulf Coast League. This is where most high school drafted players go, as well as the young international signees. As mentioned before, Priester proved very quickly that he was